Now, there is no doubt that stress can easily take over our lives if not managed properly. It's important to have the right supports and approaches in place as we navigate stressful situations. Joining us this morning is registered psychologist Lauren Marsh-Knickle, and she's going to provide she provides psychological services to Nova Scotians. She's been doing it for more than 25 years, and we're very pleased to have her join us today with some practical tips. Thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Oh, of course. Thank you again for having me.
Now, winter can be stressful for a lot of people, but with what's going on in the news lately, I mean, all of us can sort of feel this edginess. What role can we play in managing our own stress?
Absolutely. There's so many challenges right now, locally, globally, and nationally, of course. And so there are things that we can actually do. So we want to learn how to be responders versus being reactors. And that's really important because there are so many things that we don't have any control over. And so we have to focus on the things that we do. So the first thing that we can look at is actually what we call a problem-focused coping. So if there's any stressors that are on your plate that you actually can make choices about or make changes, then that's probably a good place to start.
Okay, let's dig into that a little bit. Problem-focused coping. Tell me more.
Well, there's two forms of coping. So there's emotion-focused and there's problem-focused. So problem-focused is more of the practical. If there's something that's happening in your world that you actually do have a level of control over, then it's worth focusing on that and seeing if there's some changes that you can make.
Right.
But there's so many things that are outside of our control.
Yes.
Or even when we do try and control for them, it doesn't alleviate the full effects of stress. So that's when we start to move into the emotional side of coping.
Okay.
And there's two things. There's a maladaptive coping and there's an adaptive coping. So adaptive coping is any of the choices that we're making that actually helps to alleviate stress, but it's good for us in the long run. But there's maladaptive coping that actually is the choices that we're making that may make us feel a little bit better in the moment, we think, but they actually can increase the stress or negative effects in the long run.
Can you give an example of the positive and then perhaps the destructive forms of coping?
Absolutely,
okay.
Yes. So we'll do a couple today very quickly, but one of them, for instance, when we're looking at the positive coping, it's the interactions with other people, it's going out and connecting and exercise and eating well and sleeping well and managing your thoughts, and which we'll get into, and managing your body.
Okay.
In terms of the destructive, so for instance, people will actually turn to alcohol, they may be eating too much, they may be sleeping too much, they may be using these coping mechanisms to try and support themselves in their stress, but in actual fact, it makes things worse in the long run, potentially.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, you were saying, let's continue. You were going to offer something about some more tips to help people.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So I really like to start with the body. So before we do anything in terms of going into thoughts and so on, I like to actually prep the body for that. And so it's really just making sure that your body is open. So because when we are stressed, we tend to curl up,
do we ever?
right?
Yeah.
Shoulders up,
Yeah.
and that actually can impair our breath. And so when our breath is impacted, that really can have an effect on our nervous system. So we want to make sure that our body's open, and then we can start with something as simple as the breath. Now, there's many ways of doing it. One of my favorites is to actually take a deep, full breath in through the nose, take a full breath. Now take another quick one. Once you get to the top, hold it for a second. The slowest exhale you can do.
That feels great. Lauren, I'm afraid we have to stop it there. We're out of time, but that already, it's just talking, well, your voice and just your manner is so soothing. But I can imagine speaking with a professional like yourself could really help when you get into stressful situations.
Oh, absolutely, yes. But there's so many things that you can also do online. And looking up cognitive behavioral approaches, for instance, there's lots of things online.
Perfect.
But if it's going past 2 weeks and you are in distress, make sure you reach out.
Well, Lauren, we really appreciate this. Already a great takeaway. So we put information about Lauren's practice on our website, and yes, hopefully you can find some resources online as well. It's 7:26. We are going to move our attention over to Latavia with a quick 3-day. Oh, actually, we're getting to take a break. It's 7:27. We'll be right back after this.